So, time for another Road Soda review. We're going to go with Hamm's From the Land of the Sky Blue Waters. This Milwaukee based beer, not bad. It's American light lager is what it is. It's brewed in the family tradition from the purest waters and choicest barley malt, grain, and hops. Milwaukee. This is a good beer. I mean, it's one of my favorite mass marketed beers, big ones. I like it, and I like High Life. I like Coors. Consider it a little bit better quality Coors than I do Hamm's or High Life. The price point sure in hell a lot better. So got the dimpled mug. Oh yeah, listen to that crack. Very small head. Get that yeasty beer smell. Definitely get the American light lager taste on it. It's actually probably pills, more than pills than a lager. It's good. You know, like I said, it's one of my go-to beers. I really like these in the summertime when you can do something out in the yard hot and all that, and then you get a nice cold refreshing beer, or after working out in the yard, or just being hot, you know. So that's good. The head's already gone, no legs on it. It's tasty. I mean, as far as what it is, I mean, it's a cheap get you drunk beer, and that's definitely what it is. I mean, it's not nothing to write home about, you know. But it's a hell of a lot better than Mickey's that I had last week. Ooh, can't do that Mickey's too often, that's for sure. But you know, I enjoy it. I would not, you know, recommend it to somebody who's into pale ales and IPAs and all that. They're just going to look at you like you're an idiot. You know, I'm not much of a beer snob, but I'm pretty sure if I gave that to somebody who was, they'd just think I was a moron. But it's tasty. It's good. It's refreshing. You know, for a 30 pack, that's how about this set. 30 pack was $15.99, so $17.50 with tax. So that's not bad. You know, a lot of beer for cheap, and I got this towards the middle of my unemployment phase, so a 30 pack for $17 was a good deal. You know, it's it's not nothing to write home about, that's for sure, but it's still a fine quality, and it's good for a baseball game, or good for sitting around the backyard. You know, barbecue. It's a good one for a barbecue. Uh, I think next time I do one, it's going to either be High Life, or I did find a Victoria in the little beer fridge, which is a nice Mexican beer. It has a lot more flavor to it. I like it quite a bit. My favorite Mexican beer is Tecate. So this is kind of this little ramble about Hamm's. Back when my dad Uh, he didn't drink much in the last 10 years of his life. He'd, have a beer here and there and all that, but towards the last about 2 years, that we'd have Sunday dinners every Sunday over at the folks' house, and everyone would come over, and I'd go over early and help start cooking and get stuff ready, set the table up and all that. And I'd bring over a few beers, a 6 pack, or 3 or 4 beers from home, or what have you. And whenever I brought over hams, Dad would go. Dad would always sing that song. From the land of sky blue waters comes a beer most refreshing. And I think he grew up on hams back in the 60s and 70s. I think they drank quite a bit of it. But whenever I'd come over, Dad would he wouldn't want a full beer. He just want about that much in a glass, So I'd get a little glass out and pour a couple fingers full of beer for him, and he had just taken because that's all I wanted. I just wanted to taste it. So sometimes I'd take over something like Hamm's, or I'd take over a High Life, Coors. Uh, he liked Michelob Ultra. I'm not a huge fan of it, but every now and then we'd go pick up something like that. And we had some neighbors that my folks had, and they were from Arizona by way of Oregon. And so he found our neighbor Tom, or my folks' neighbor Tom, found some uh, some Oregon beer called Dead Man's Ale. I think it's by Rogue River or Rogue Brewery out of Oregon, out of Bend, Oregon, and we got a little bit of that, and it's quite a punch. It's quite tasty. It's a delicious beer if you ask me. But so we poured a little bit in a glass for Dad, and boy, he just just jaws tightened up, and because you boys are drinking shit's what you're drinking. But every now and then I'd bring over something that I don't think he would like, and he ended up liking it. Uh, he liked he did like Samuel Adams' Boston Lager, but he didn't like too much of the other stuff by Sam Adams. He didn't like. I brought over some Killian's Irish Red. Dad didn't care for Killian's Irish Red. I like it. I might pick some of that up on payday. I haven't had it in a long time. Stuff like but mostly my dad growing up in the 60s and the 70s, 50s, and all that. All the beer back then was the Milwaukee, Miller beer and Budweiser and Coors. There was no light beers back then, so that's my dad said he'd go into a bar and just order a draft and hear some cracking sounds, and they'd just be the beer, whatever they had on tap. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Hams, and I'll drink the rest of this for my dad, and I'll talk to y'all next time.